What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 97 of the Access of Combat podcast. I'm one half of your host, Hugo the Boss. Hugo got next, joined by my co-host.
It's your boy Ray Boogie Kahuna. On today's episode, we're going to be breaking down UFC Kansas City, Garry versus Carlos Prates. And on the boxing side, we got Eubank versus Conor Benn. But before we get into any of that, my brother, tell them what the deal is.
Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody enjoying the visual portion of this podcast, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know.
First fight on the card at women's bantamweight, we have Chelsea Chandler going one-on-one with Joselyne Edwards. Chandler, 6-3 overall, fighting out of Stockton, California, 34 years old. Edwards, 14-6 overall, repping Panama, hailing from Panama, 29 years old. This is a fight where if I can trust Chelsea to, get some takedowns, I think she's probably the side. I don't trust Chelsea to get any kind of takedowns in this fight. On the feet, I think Joselyne lights her up. She's hands down the better striker. Edwards is probably going to be the one taking her down. Does she have a deficiency in the takedown defense? Yes, she does. But Chandler is, I just don't trust the IQ. She literally fights like a female version of Diaz. She won't force the takedown unless you take her down. So give me Joselyne here. I think Joselyne wins probably by decision.
Yeah, I'm on the other side here. I like Chelsea Chandler in this fight. Obviously, it's not with a high degree of confidence considering all the brilliant points that my brother brought up, but there's a clear wrestling edge here, in my opinion. I think Joselyne has improved her wrestling, but this is a girl who probably should be fighting at 45, and Chelsea Chandler is also a girl who should be fighting at 45. So I feel like Joselyne, where she has a lot of advantages over 35ers because of her physicality, those are going to disappear in this fight. Once again, she has gotten better. I just feel like this is Chelsea's fight to lose, in my opinion. If she could just work the takedowns, I think she's going to get her down in this fight at least once or twice. She's the far better grappler. Joselyne does have some brain farts in her grappling game, to be frank. Even if she does get Chelsea down, could I see Chelsea throwing up a triangle choke or an armbar? Yeah, I like Chelsea Chandler here as well too, just because of the line. She's sitting at a plus 210. I'm assuming her sub is probably going to be a little juiced up too. If it's like sitting at like plus 600, you play it. I think she probably could sub her, but I also think sub or decision is live here. I don't think she's going to beat her on the feet, to my brother's point. I think Joselyne's the better striker. Give me Chelsea Chandler as a possible live dog play heading into this card.
Next fight on the card at men's featherweight, we have Timmy Cuamba going one-on-one with Roberto Romero. Cuamba, 8-3 overall, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, 26 years old. Romero, 8-4-1 overall, fighting out of Mexico, repping Mexico, 25 years old. Romero made a short notice debut against Onama, a weight class up, where I thought he looked, even in a loss, decently impressive. Good striking. He got the Kombat global background. He has very good leg kicks. Throws everything with authority. Decent takedown defense. Was able to take Onama down. Was able to rock Onama. Cuamba here, a guy who I think is decent. I think he might have the boxing edge, but just not the striking edge, but he definitely has the edge in the boxing. I think if Cuamba pushes heavy wrestling, it's probably a viable path for him here. But considering I thought Romero looked pretty decent, a weight class that he shouldn't be fighting in, I think he'll have no problems piecing up Cuamba here. Give me Romero. I say probably by knockout. Cuamba's chin is a little sus. His last fight, I think he might have hit the ground about 4 or 5 times. The guy that he's fighting now in Romero, I think can definitely put him on the ground. If there's any kind of bets for overs on knockdowns, I kind of like that. Straight prediction, I think Romero's the side, and I think he's going to get it done inside the distance.
Yeah, I'm with you here. Romero really impressed me his last fight just because of the damage that he landed, as well as the ability to win position on certain scrambles with Onama, who is a weight class bigger than him. This fight is lined at a pick'em. I think this might be a possible play for Romero. You have to hope for Cuamba to push heavy wrestling, which he can do. He has shown it in some of his fights, but he preferably likes to keep the fight standing. And I think if you give Romero his dance, he's going to excel at it. Give me Romero here as well for the play.
Next fight on the card at women's strawweight, we have Jaqueline Amorim going one-on-one with Polyana Viana. Amorim is 9-1 overall, fighting out of Coconut Creek, Florida, repping Brazil, 29 years old. Viana, 13-7 overall, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 32 years old. 2 women who specialize in jiu-jitsu, but I'm going to be leaning, I guess, the semi-newcomer in Amorim. I think her jiu-jitsu is going to be better. I don't think Viana's got the heart. I don't think she's got the IQ. When you're getting subbed by, no offense, Veronica Hardy via armbar, what do you think Amorim going to do to her arm? Give me Amorim here. I think this fight ends in sub. You would think that she'd be at a size disadvantage. She's only 2 inches shorter, but I think she might have the reach advantage here. Yeah. Amorim is more hungry in my opinion. Amorim is probably going to want it more. I haven't really seen any kind of fire out of Polyana, who kind of like striking wise is a little ass. Amorim for the win, but via sub. That's the way I'm leaning.
Well, I will say that Polyana is the better striker. In my opinion, I think Amorim just has one goal, and that's just to get it to the floor. But I just question her commitment to MMA just like you do. She got an OnlyFans and it changed her life. She makes way more money there than she does in the game. I also think that she has horrid takedown defense and that she likes to play off her back a little too much. Pause. It's just the dynamic of she's going to give Amorim what she wants. And on top of getting subbed by Veronica Hardy, who I think is an overall pretty good mixed martial artist, she's just undersized for the division. She's getting subbed by Lucinda, who predominantly likes to strike. So for me, that's a big red flag. And she got to that position pretty easy. She dropped her and just went to head and arm choke position. So for me, I think Amorim's going to get her spots here. I think she finishes her second, third round submission. Give me Jaqueline Amorim for the lean and via sub.
Next fight on the card at men's bantamweight, we have Cameron Saaiman going one-on-one with the debuting Malcolm Wellmaker. Saaiman, 9-2 overall. Fighting out of South Africa, repping South Africa, 24 years old. Wellmaker, perfect, 8-0. Fighting out of Augusta, Georgia, 30 years old. I kind of feel bad for Saaiman. I think the kid is good. He's still young. He's got the 6-year advantage here in this fight. Back-to-back losses against Peyton Talbot and C-Rod.
Yes.
And now he's got to fight another decent prospect in Wellmaker, who kind of presents different striking problems, not like Talbot did. Talbot kind of just walked him down, took one to give one, and, you know, for lack of a better term, beat the dog shit out of Saaiman.
We made a lot of money that fight, bro.
We did.
Oh, man.
Wellmaker, in my opinion, is the more technical. He's a better technical striker than Peyton Talbot. A little more defensively responsible, but not as aggressive. I think it's Saaiman wanted to push grappling here. It's probably a viable path, and I kind of think he's gonna win this, but at the same time, there's something special about this Wellmaker cat. I kind of want to pick him. I know he's debuting. I know he's got the striking advantage, and I think he's got decent enough takedown defense. I know it's a little counterintuitive. I probably should be leaning Saaiman just on UFC experience alone, but I'm gonna go the upset. Give me Wellmaker here. Probably late round finish.
Yeah, and don't feel too bad about having being a little on the fence with this fight. Even Vegas is on the fence with this fight. This fight's lined up pick 'em. I'm curious to see how this line shakes out later in the week. I'm with you on everything you said. I'm gonna lean Saaiman just for podcast sake, but don't be surprised if I lean Wellmaker later in the week. And I'm just going to lean Saaiman just on UFC experience, and just because I know he's going to have free range to move around and use all his weapons. He's not a bad prospect. He lost to C-Rod, who was just a fucking prospect killer, to be frank.
Killer, yep.
Peyton Talbot, who did get exposed by Ronnie Barcelos, but Peyton Talbot's physicality for a younger man like Saaiman, who hasn't grown into his grown man strength yet, is a little bit of an issue. So I'm going to lean Saaiman, but not with a high degree of confidence. This could easily be a Wellmaker pick later in the week for me as well. I'm just leaning Saaiman for podcast sake. That's where I'm at.
Next fight on the card at men's bantamweight, we have Damon Blackshear going one-on-one with Alatengheili, the Mongolian Knight. Blackshear, 16-7-1. Fighting out of North Carolina, 30 years old. The Mongolian Knight is 17-9-2. Fighting out of Scottsdale, Arizona, but repping China, 33 years old. Is this like Blackshear's second fight this year already? Or
he fought Cody Gibson.
I feel like he's fought a lot this year already.
And I feel like there's a step down.
I think it's a step down, but it's also interesting because Alateng is going to push grappling heavy. I think Blackshear, this is his fight to lose. I think on the ground, even if he does get taken down, I think his jiu-jitsu is just that much better, that much more slick. On the feet, I think Alateng does possess power that can give Blackshear maybe some issues, but I don't know. I don't see Blackshear really struggling too much with Alateng here. Give me Blackshear here. I say submission.
Yeah, I think this is an easy play, to be frank. I'm surprised the line's where it's at. We have made a lot of money on Blackshear in this podcast because I feel like he is underrated amongst the MMA community as well as amongst some of his peers. He's sitting at a minus 340. I think he'd easily be sitting at a minus 500. He just finished stopping Cody Gibson, who historically is very difficult to stop. We made money on that fight because his ITD was plus 175 and we threw like 2 units on that baby. So, and then we played the sub for like plus 250, which is insane.
Oh yeah.
This is the same situation. And by the way, this is a guy who doesn't have not even close to the same dimensions as Cody Gibson. Alatengheili, 5'5", Blackshear, 5'10". Alatengheili, 66.5-inch reach. Blackshear, 72 and a quarter reach. I mean, guys, I feel like there's a step down. I really do. He's fought better guys. He's put up better fights against better guys. His striking has improved. He is a little bit of a slow starter, and you've seen it in the like he did in the Cody Gibson fight. But to be frank with you, I don't think he was expecting Cody to come out that hard. Pause. And I think Cody, that was his best first run I've seen ever, low key. That was the best I've ever seen Cody Gibson look. Yeah. Had his wife and kid in the audience. I think he wanted to try to make a point. Ended up fucking around and finding out and getting subbed later in the fight. I feel like this is Blackshear's fight to lose. This guy folds right into his game. Blackshear has worked on his takedown defense, very good with his wrestling on his own. Owns a twisted submission over a guy that can't grapple, even though I think he's a little fraudish. I just feel like you give Blackshear a full camp, he's gonna fuck shit up. And he's a guy that you could argue beat Mario Batista. You could make a strong argument he won that fight. I don't think the scorecards was like unanimous. I disagree with that. I thought the fight was way closer than a unanimous decision. So for me, this is an easy fight. Blackshear ITD is the play here. He will most likely be getting a bet from us, guys.
Next fight on the card at men's featherweight, we have Chris Gutierrez going one-on-one with John Castañeda. El Guapo is 21-5-2, fighting out of Denver, Colorado, 34 years old. Sexy Mexi is 21-7 overall, fighting out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, 33 years old. They were definitely scheduled to fight earlier in the year. I don't recall if we broke this one down or not.
We did.
Chris Gutierrez, low volume, very good striker, a very good leg kicker, decent takedown defense. Sexy Mexi, decent boxer, better grappler, interesting fight stylistically. I feel like Gutierrez is the side here because of the takedown defense, and I can see him just making this a long, boring fight where he just chops at the legs and kind of like, you know, systematically takes apart Castañeda. But at the same time, I think if Castañeda is able to, you know, mix the martial arts here, get his striking going, and maybe not even take Gutierrez down, but at least, you know, push him against the cage and kind of like, you know, stifle the offense a little bit. I see this fight going to decision. I kind of want to pick Castañeda here, but I think I'm going to lean Gutierrez here. I think he's got the higher IQ of the two guys. I could see him just stretching this one out. Pause. Ayo. Give me Gutierrez by decision.
Yeah, the original fight was supposed to be Castañeda a couple of months ago against Douglas de la Silva de Andrade. He fell out. Gutierrez stepped in, and I forgot who fell out of that fight. It might have been Castañeda. This is an easy fight to break down. I feel like Castañeda has the clear wrestling edge. Gutierrez loves to play off his back. It doesn't have a good get-up game once he gets taken down. But the problem is, to my brother's point, this is why I'm going to lean Gutierrez as well. Castañeda doesn't have a good fight IQ. Doesn't push the wrestling immediately until he realizes he's getting lit up on the feet. His leg might be gone by the time he shoots because Gutierrez loves to work behind his kicks. For me, this is Castañeda's fight to lose, and I think he's going to lose it. Give me Gutierrez by decision just because I cannot trust Castañeda to actively wrestle him as much as I would like him to.
Next fight on the card at men's lightweight, we have the debuting Ahmad Hassanzada, the line of the ring, going one-on-one with the Phenom, Evan Elder. Hassanzada is 12-3 overall, fighting out of Sacramento, repping Afghanistan, 29 years old. Elder, 9-2 overall, fighting out of Deerfield Beach, Florida, 28 years old. I'll start on the Ahmad side. Two-time Contender Series participant, lost his first fight against Nazim. That fight is aging, or at least the loss is aging decent, because I think Nazim is
showing that he's the goods.
Yes. Second fight, came back, made some adjustments. He didn't go completely grapple heavy. Kind of, you know, showed off his striking a bit. Was able to get third round submission in that one. Now he's debuting against Evan Elder here. No offense to Ahmad. His game plan is basically to grapple, take you down, sub you out. It didn't work out for him the first time against Nazim. Kind of gassed himself out to oblivion, and then Nazim just chinned him. The striking, I'm not really impressed with Ahmad. He's kind of like, you know, when you give a new kid a Super Nintendo and they get that brand new fighting game and they just want to start hitting X and O and square and triangle, and the striking looks disorganized. He spams a lot of shit for no reason. Not a fan of the striking. Evan Elder, a little reckless in his own right, but a little more controlled than Ahmad, in my opinion. I think this fight is going to be grappling on both ends. Give me Elder here. I like Elder. I've always liked Elder, but I think he's going to be able to control, even though he's going to be at a size and reach disadvantage here, I think he's going to be able to control the chaos of Ahmad here. And I think he's the better striker as well. My official prediction is going to be Elder, probably by decision. Wouldn't be surprised at a late round finish.
Yeah, I'm with you on this pick. I think Elder is just a little better than him everywhere. This is his fight to lose. I won't add much onto that because I'm with you in terms of the variance with this fight. I feel like I don't really have a clear read on what's going to happen. I just have a feeling Elder's going to be able to control him in certain spots and win minutes and win the fight. He's sitting at a minus 340. kind of unbettable, to be frank, straight. I wouldn't trust him on a parlay either because this fight could go belly up. Here's a fight that I'm probably going to stay away from. I think you probably will too, but give me Elder for podcast sake lean.
Next fight on the card at men's flyweight, we have Danger Matt Schnell going one-on-one with Jimmy the Brick Flick. Pause. That just sounded crazy. Schnell, 16-9 overall, fighting out of Louisiana, 35 years old. The Brick Flick is 17-8 overall, fighting out of Sand Springs, Oklahoma, 34 years old. This is probably the meme fight of the card. We got a guy who quit on the sport versus a guy whose chin quit on him. Jimmy's chin ain't that good either, but I guess this fight's gonna be sloppy. I'm gonna be leaning Schnell here, just purely on, you know, resume and experience, but I don't trust my own pick. Let's keep it a buck. One of these guys is gonna accidentally probably knock down the other. Not knock out. Knocked down. A lot of scrambling. Both these guys are very good on the ground, but Schnell just strikes me as the guy who, even though his chin is probably a little more faded, just has more experience, and Flick has never knocked out anyone, if I'm correct.
You're right.
Fight doesn't go unders. This fight's going to be fucking weird. It's going to be interesting to watch, but I'll lean Schnell for the podcast.
Yeah, unders. This fight doesn't stink, but it's going to be fun to watch while it lasts. But in terms of picking a side convincingly, it's scary shit. Scary times because both these guys are so vulnerable to getting KO'd, to be frank. Jimmy Flick could accidentally land on Schnell's chin and probably knock him out. I'm just going to put that out there. His chin is bad, man.
I mean, they show him sitting at plus 225. Underdog pick on Flick, probably not the worst idea, to be honest, in a fight where the chins are going to be checked.
Absolutely. And I'm with you here. I'm only going to pick Schnell because I think he has the better skills. I think he has the better boxing and he can grapple. Jimmy Flick is more of just the grappler, right? But once again, overhand, catches Schnell at the chin, could KO him and then club and sub his ass. So this is an ugly fight. Unders are definitely the side in this fight. And this fight's definitely, I would be very surprised if this fight went the distance. Give me that, but Schnell is the lean. But the play for sure is definitely going to be unders and fight doesn't go.
Next fight on the card at men's middleweight, we have Ikram Aliskerov going one-on-one with André Muniz. Aliskerov is 15-2 overall, fighting out of Russia, hailing from Russia, 32 years old. Muniz is 24-6, repping Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 35 years old. This is Aliskerov all day, I think, for me. Never been too high on Muniz. He's got jiu-jitsu. That's about it. His striking's a little overrated. Aliskerov, kind of a beast. This feels like a placeholder fight. I think Aliskerov is going to run through him, finish him, KO or submission, don't know, however he wants. It's probably more interesting to talk about who Aliskerov is going to fight next. He did fight Rob Whittaker, short notice. It is Rob Whittaker, but I think that's kind of the level where Aliskerov's at, in my opinion. I mean, besides Rob Whittaker, he's only lost to Khamzat. I think Aliskerov's just going to control him with wrestling and fuck him up. So give me Aliskerov here, and probably one of the easier fights to pick on this card.
Yeah, for me, this feels like a thank you fight from the UFC to Aliskerov for stepping in short notice against Rob Whittaker and saving that Saudi card. And this is definitely a fight where he should excel. André Muniz, he's been on our fraud check ever since the Paul Craig fight where we picked Paul Craig at like plus 300 to beat him, and Paul Craig stopped him with strikes. Got on top of him and just fucked him up, to be frank. I just feel like Muniz, this is a fight that it's not favorable to him. He's not going to resist the takedowns. His gas tank is not good. He's not a better striker than Aliskerov. Aliskerov hits harder. Aliskerov's more durable. Aliskerov's younger. This is Aliskerov all day. He's going to walk through him. Aliskerov via ITD is the way to go with this fight.
Next fight on the card at men's welterweight, we have Rude Boy Randy Brown going one-on-one with the Danish Dynamite Nicolas Dalby. Brown, 19-6 overall, fighting out of Queens, New York, repping Jamaica, 34 years old. Dalby, 23-5-1, fighting out of Denmark, hailing from Denmark, 40 years old. Another interesting fight, a fight that I think can go either way. I think I'm at the point where I've been trying to fade Rude Boy. I probably should stop fading Rude Boy. I think I got to give him a little more credit and give credit where credit is due. He has been improving. He knows how to use his tools.
Hey,
pause. No, he's just one of these fighters where it's like he knows he's got the size, he's got the reach, AO. He just takes advantage of that at all times, right? He doesn't really fight out of his element while also improving, slowly improving the weaker parts of his game, like jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. Dalby's going to be an interesting opponent here because Dalby is tough. Tough as cookies, tough as nails. However, tougher than a $2 steak. He's going to walk forward. He's going to make Rude Boy very uncomfortable, take away his space, probably crowd him. This fight is probably going to go the distance. Dalby, durable. I don't think he's got the power to really put away Rude Boy. Give me Randy Brown by decision. I think it's going to be a split decision, but I think it's going to be a decision win for Randy Brown.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting fight for Randy because Dalby's going to be a Rude Boy and crowd Rude Boy space. I just feel like this is Randy's fight to lose. I think he's got the better skills. He's taller, knows how to work behind the jab, very defensively responsible, can grapple. Alessio Dos Santos, I tried to fade him against Alessio Dos Santos, and he impressed me in that fight. Won some of the wrestling exchanges, won the grappling exchanges. And to be frank, he's coming off a fight where I thought you could make a strong argument he won against Brian Battle. We had the Brian Battle ticket on this podcast, and it was close. I was ready to lose it because I thought you could make a very good argument Randy won that fight. Give me Randy here, but I tell you what, if this line gets a little more disrespectful towards Dalby, I'm not going to hate a dog shot. Anything over plus 200, I feel like he's playable. He is going to make it a dog fight. He is durable. He does present a lot of issues in terms of pressure and physicality for Randy. This is a good fight. It might be a fight I stay away from. I do like the overs to my brother's point, but if Dalby got a late stoppage here just because he's able to wear down Randy, I'm not going to be surprised. But this is definitely Randy's fight to lose. And if it's Randy's fight to lose, I don't see him subbing or knocking out Dalby because Dalby can grapple his ass off and he's got a hell of a chin. So for podcast sake, I'm going to lean Rude Boy by decision, not with a high degree of confidence because this fight can go all over the place. I'm curious to see how this line shakes out as the week goes on.
Next fight on the card at men's middleweight, we have Michel Pereira going one-on-one with Abus Magomedov. Pereira is 31-12. Fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 31 years old. Magomedov is 27-6-1. Fighting out of Germany, rep in Germany, 34 years old. This is another fight where I don't think it's going to go the distance. I think if you like the Michel Pereira side, I think early is probably the way to bet him, rounds 1 and 2. I think the longer this fight goes, the worse it's going to be for Pereira. Both guys have questionable gas tanks, but I do trust Magomed's wrestling way more than I trust Pereira on the ground at all. At least in this particular fight. Not saying Pereira can't throw up submissions because he can, but Magomedov is just, I think, that much better on the ground. Pereira was a guy who was burning hot until he ran into Fluffy. Fluffy obviously had the game plan there. I mean, you take the man down, hold him down, beat him up, keep taking him down, holding him down, beating him up. Magomed, I think, a better control wrestler. Not overall wrestler, but definitely a better control wrestler than Fluffy. I don't think this fight goes, but give me Magomed here for the win. I just trust the wrestling more. But wouldn't be surprised if Pereira just cleaned his shit out in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm with you on the dog shot here just because Abus is the better wrestler, but man, this fight stinks, and it's gonna be entertaining as shit, but it stinks from a betting perspective because it's so much high variance. Michelle, yeah, he got buried by Fluffy, but everyone gets buried by Fluffy, and Abus is not going to be able to keep up that wrestling offense for more than a round or two. This fight could look very ugly down the stretch with Pereira mauling him, body shotting him with that front teep kick that he throws, jumping off the cage and doing some wild shit just because homeboy is so fucking tired he can't get away from him. This fight is going to be like, for me, I think it's going to be a fight that I'm probably going to sit back and just enjoy. I don't know if I have any interest in betting it. It could go over just because Abus seems to be a survivor, like Destiny's Child, when he conveniently wants to be, doesn't want to die in a fight in a video game. Michel Pereira is a dog. Like, he showed it in that Fluffy Hernandez fight. He was completely outclassed, but needed the ref to step in, did not give up on himself. Both these guys are decently durable too. Pereira's a little more durable than Abus. Ah, man, this fight's crazy. I don't know. I like the over 1.5 low key. I think they're going to respect each other and probably not try to gas themselves out, particularly considering their previous experience in the octagon at the UFC level. I feel like it's a sneaky over. Low-key, I feel like it's a sneaky over 1.5. I'm curious to see what the line shake out to be for this fight, but from a betting perspective, I'm not convinced I should be betting this fight, or neither should you, ladies and gentlemen. So give me a boost just for the wrestling edge, but man, not with a high degree of confidence.
Next fight on the card at men's featherweight, we have Ninja Giga Chikadze going one-on-one with the silent assassin David Onama. Chikadze is 15-4 overall, fighting out of Huntington Beach, California, but repping Georgia, 36 years old. Onama is 13-2 overall, fighting out of Kansas City, Missouri, but repping Uganda, 30 years old. Another interesting fight I'm kind of going back and forth on, because I do think Chikadze, I mean, not that I think, but he does have way more experience. He's probably the better striker here. He's got decent takedown defense. Onama, a little more dynamic, a little more athletic, maybe a little lacking on the IQ end, but I think that's more, he's like more of a slow starter. I do probably give the grappling to him. If he does push grappling here, it's probably a way more interesting fight. On the feet, Onama's got power. Chikadze could clip though, but he's a little more technical. I kind of want to pick Chikadze here, but I think I'm going to lean Onama. Give me Onama here. No method of victory for me right now, but I think Onama's the side. That's just a gut read.
Yeah, for me, this fight's dog or pass, and the dog in this fight currently right now is Giga. I agree with you with Onama with the grappling edge, but for whatever reason, I just don't trust him. I don't trust his gas. I think Giga's the way more polished striker, especially with that Giga kick. I can see him kicking him in the midsection and dropping him with a body shot. You gotta trust Onama, I feel, to either land a big shot or get the wrestling going, both of which he's not very good at doing outside of landing the big shot, considering that he's fought low-level opponents that don't move out of the way of his punches. The problem is I just haven't seen anyone have a clean fight against this guy. And I think that's why the line is lined the way it is. But Giga, in my opinion, is the way better fighter. I understand the age. I understand the damage. Hasn't looked the same since the Calvin Kattar fight. But for me, skills pay the bills. I'm going to go dog or pass here. Give me Giga Chikadze to get this fight done by either knockout or decision.
Next fight on the card at men's light heavyweight and is currently constituted the co-main event of the evening. We have Anthony Lionheart Smith going one-on-one with the Mountain Tiger Ming Yang Zhang. Smith, 37-21-0, fighting out of Omaha, Nebraska, 36 years old. Zhang, 18-6 overall, fighting out of China, repping China, 26 years old. We got Lionheart and Mountain Tiger, and I've always picked tigers over lions. It ain't going to change here. Give me Zhang. I'm picking Zhang. I do worry if Anthony Smith somehow gets this fight on the ground. He's way better on the ground. But Anthony Smith is old as shit. He's worn out. Listen, Lionheart is probably the only thing that he's really got going for him because he's got the heart of a lion. That's bars. That being said, I mean, Zhang, very hittable, but man, that guy fucking packs a wallop.
And granite chin. Used to fight at heavyweight, by the way.
I think Zhang is going to clean his shit out. Give me Zhang by KO, and hopefully he doesn't get taken down here and it makes me look like an asshole.
I feel like this is definitely his fight to lose. I'm with you. The line's a little out of control. Zhang is hitting at a minus 500.
That's a little worrisome.
Yeah, but if you're asking me, it's pretty much lined correctly. I think he should fuck him up. Anthony shouldn't be fighting anymore. I don't even know how he's getting cleared to fight, to be frank with you. Ton of damage. Lost a step. I feel like if Zhang lands on him once, he's not going to be able to recover for the rest of the fight. There's a guy who naturally fought at heavyweight and has knockout at heavyweight. It's a tough fight for Anthony. And if you're asking me, he's not going to dip his head into a bad spot like Petrino did. It's just not going to happen. So you have to hope Anthony can effectively wrestle this guy to the floor. And this guy is huge for the weight class. He's got to know that that's his only path to victory, because if Anthony exchanges with this guy, I'm not convinced Anthony's going to be able to clip him and hurt him. I think Zhang should fuck him up. To be frank, it's going to be by knockout. He's not subbing Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith, I hope this is the last one. I don't like seeing him getting beat up in the octagon because we do support him here. We think he has a very stern and ready career in commentating post-fighting. I honestly just hope he gets there because he's just not wearing shots the same way anymore. The same way the damage was last week, we should have faded him as well too, because we should have realized that he was completely just shop-worn. Ming Yang is not going to dip his head into any bad places. Give me Ming Yang by knockout here.
Next fight on the card at men's welterweight and is currently constituted the main event of the evening. We have Ian Machado Garry going one-on-one with Carlos Prates. The future is 15-1, fighting out of Ireland, repping Ireland, 27 years old. The Nightmare, 21-6 overall, fighting out of Brazil, repping Brazil, 31 years old. This is actually a pretty exciting fight. Listen, credit to Ian. This is a fight he didn't have to take. I think this is part of his, image cleanup where he's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna take any fight, whatever, I don't care anymore, I already got my L. He's not as protective of the O anymore because he's taking the L, right? So but now he's going against a guy in Prates who comes from the fighting nerds. These guys have been on a fucking streak, not the whole team but the four horsemen of them. So who's that? That's João Silva, who we just seen,
Kyle
Borralho, and Rufi.
Yeah, Rufi's the most fraudish.
Rufi probably the weakest link.
Correct.
And I think Prates is the first to really, actually no, not the first, because Kaio's been fighting ranked fighters, but Prates, it's his time to shine here. He's stepping up. Tough fight, because I think if Prates does connect on Ian Garry, I think he can chin the shit out of him. Ian Garry was doing the chicken dance against Kenan Song.
Yeah.
Prates is a way better striker. That being said, I think Ian Garry's the better fighter overall. The higher IQ. I think he knows what he's getting into here. He's probably going to try to make this a boring fight. I don't know if he wants to test Prates' jiu-jitsu necessarily, but
he might be better though, because and I know we faded, but we try to fade and have questions about John Silver versus Bryce. Thing is, Bryce doesn't have the striking acumen of Ian.
No.
And if you want the real, I think Ian is just smarter about getting to people's backs than Bryce is, to be frank.
This fight, for some reason, screams that it's not going to go all 5, but I do think Ian is probably the side here for me. I think he's going to, systematically just play it safe, not get into the crosshairs of this man's mallets. I think he picks up the W here. I think Gary's the side here.
Yeah, I love the overs in this fight. This fight's probably going to go the distance, whether Prates wants it to or not. I have a hard time believing he's going to catch Ian. I don't think Ian's stupid. I think Ian sees some exploitable features on Prates. This is going to be one of probably the most legit fight of Prates has fought, like by a wide margin, because his last fight was against Neil Magny, who is completely shop-worn at this point. This is not Neil Magny. This is a guy who has the same dimensions as Neil Magny, but knows how to use his feet, knows how to get to the back. The only problem with him is that he doesn't have real good, meaningful offense. So I could see Prates hitting him and hurting him and then not being able to finish him because Ian's so defensively responsible and doesn't really fire back meaningful offense to get his respect. I don't want to pick a side here. I'm going to lean Ian for the podcast's sake because I do think if he gets Prates' back, he can control him. Was able to control a stud in Shavkat and in the last round of that fight and control him for a considerable amount of time. Give me Ian Garry here by decision, not with a high degree of confidence, but the bets are definitely on the overs here. That's what I like for this fight.
Moving right along from the UFC straight into boxing, we have a boxer promotions card headlined by Eubanks and Conor Benn, but we're going to start with the bottom of the card currently in a fight that might be probably the most entertaining fight of the card. We have the gentleman, Chris Billam-Smith, going one-on-one with Bulletproof Brandon Galton. Smith is 20-2 overall, fighting out of England, repping England, 34 years old. Galton is also 20-2. Fighting out of Riverside, California, 33 years old.
Riverside, motherfucker.
Riverside, motherfucker.
Yeah, I like CBS in this fight. And I like CBS just because I feel like he has the better skills. He went to war with Zordo. Zordo is a monster, and he was able to last the whole way with him. Great chin, good technical boxing. Does fade a little bit down the stretch of fights, but so does Glatton. Glatton's a little suspect, in my opinion, in terms of his approach. Doesn't really set up his punches, kind of likes to telephone booth brawl. I trust CBS to have better effective fighting from the outside. He was able to show flashes of it against Zordo. Glatton fights one way and has lost 2 fights via split and majority decision because he doesn't get out of his own way. CBS is not going to go away. CBS can fight in the phone booth with him. CBS can fight in the outside. For those reasons, I like CBS to win here. Not sure how I'm going to play it. Could he stop Glatton? Not sure. Glatton has a good chin. This fight probably will go over. I'm curious as to where they have it. If they have it like 6.5, 7.5, I'll take a stab at it. But we'll see as things get closer to fight time. All I can tell you assuredly right now is that CBS is the lean for this podcast.
Next fight on the card, at 175 pounds, we have Anthony Yard. I always say Yarde, but it's Yard. The Beast from the East, going one-on-one with Lyndon Arthur, a.k.a. King Arthur. And this is a trilogy fight. Yard is 26-3, fighting out of England, 33 years old. Arthur, 24-2. Fighting out of England, repping England, 33 years old.
Yeah, I feel like this is a tough fight for Arthur, to be frank with you. If you've seen Linda Arthur fight from a promotional standpoint, he fought Bivol in, I think, Saudi Arabia. If you've seen Arthur fight in that fight, you pretty much have an idea on how he's going to fight all his fights. Likes to fight up his back foot, likes to fight big, pause, leans on the jab, throws in the combination here and there. The first fight between these two was very close. Yard, you could make a strong argument he won the fight. The problem is he didn't throw enough, so I thought Arthur did edge him, and he was the rightful split decision winner. Plus, Yard was coming off of the Sergey Kovalev fight where he kind of gassed out and got stopped. So I felt like he was pulling his punches and pulling his offense so he wouldn't gas and get stopped again, almost out of fear. I think it was like 2 or 3 fight difference, but you could tell that Kovalev stop kind of affected his game. The second fight, Yard looked like Yard. Went after him, blitzed him, threw a lot of shots. The reason as well, too, I say this is a tough fight for Arthur is because this is a guy who's durable in Yard, fights orthodox, and fights kind of Philly shell, leans with the shoulder, protects the body, so it takes away Arthur's ability to throw the left hook. Arthur will jab and Arthur will only fire when the counter shot and or the right hand are there. The problem is, the more Arthur leans with the jab, it leaves open Yard's right hand to connect. And Yard is the faster guy here. He is way more explosive. He hits way harder. I have a hard time believing Linden is going to be able to replicate a better game plan than what he showed in that first fight, because we've kind of seen what he is. He literally only has the 1-2 in this fight, and or to catch him, opening up to catch him with the left hand as he enters. Regardless, I don't see him hurting Yard. I think Yard is going to probably stop him mid to late rounds here. Then it's hard for me to find ways for Arthur to win this fight. The fight was slow the first time, and you could make an argument Yard won. Second fight was Yard's pace, stopped him. And now, historically, if you look at analytics on trilogies, the guy who historically wins the second fight usually wins the third. Give me Yard here by mid to late round stoppage.
Next fight on the card at 160 pounds and is currently constituted the co-main event of the evening. We have beefy Liam-Smith going one-on-one with Aaron Silencer McKenna. Smith is 33-4-1. Fighting out of England, repping Liverpool, 36 years old. McKenna is perfect, 19-0. Fighting out of Los Angeles, California, but repping Ireland, 25 years old.
Yeah, this is one of the more interesting fights in the card, and it's only one of the more interesting fights in the card because Liam-Smith is a little older. Also coming off the Eubank stoppage. Aaron McKenna started off as a plus favorite for this fight. He started off at like plus 140. Smashed down now to a pick'em. Liam-Smith, I think, should be the lean here. And here's why. If you look at McKenna's record, a lot of the guys he fought, 11-17, 5-72, 12-36, 26-21. Ladies and gentlemen, these are not football scores. These are records. These are records of some of the guys that he fought. And what's sad about it is those four guys that I mentioned, he didn't stop one of them, one or two of them. If you look at the rest of the guys that he's fought, 8-6, 6-2. The only legitimate fighters that he's fought are his last three opponents. And to his credit, he stopped them. None of these guys are Liam-Smith. They're in Liam-Smith's backyard. This is a guy who is still, I think, green, and this is like a big step up from his last fight competition-wise. It could be close just because of Liam's age. If Liam was in his prime, I think he pummels him. Liam also has a big brother physically, younger brother, if I'm correct, age-wise, in Callum Smith that can replicate this guy, because McKenna is 6'1" with a 75-inch reach, very, very closely in dimensions to Callum Smith. I feel like if Liam walks him down, he's going to win the minute here. He applies awkward but precise pressure. And the reason why you can say that is because he had success against a lot of guys he's fought, including Canelo Alvarez, where he was able to land clean shots on Canelo and distort Canelo's timing because he is awkward and does have legit power. Was in that fight until he started getting attacks to the body. McKenna is a guy who goes to the body, but he is not a ferocious body puncher. Even the Eubanks fight, when he got stopped, which is his only other stoppage outside of Canelo Alvarez, you could argue the referee jumped in a little too early. Plus, he knocked out Eubanks the fight prior, and Eubanks got his lick back. I feel like this is Liam Smith's fight to lose, unless he's just completely washed. That's the big variable here. The thing is, I don't think he's completely washed. I think Eubanks is a beast. I think Eubanks is a guy who's been vastly underrated in this weight class, a guy who he can't get a lot of fights with because he kind of gets ducked a little bit. He is a little bit on the older side and was a little bit on the older side when they fought. I just don't think McKenna's resume aligns up with what Liam has done, and they're fighting in Liam's backyard. So for me, if this fight is close, Liam Smith might get the nod. McKenna, like I said, all props to him. I think this is might be a little bit too soon. I would have liked to see a fight in between this one and the Smith fight. But with that said, I think at a pick of money and Liam leaning more into dog money, wait for the line to get better for Liam, play him at dog money. I like the split decision, majority decision for this fight as well. Give me Liam Smith by decision because he's durable, and I think he's going to be able to stand up to McKenna's dishing. I also think McKenna has a decent chin, and he's fighting a guy that is not at his heyday anymore. But I do think Liam can win the minutes and win the boxing exchanges in this fight. Give me Liam Smith by decision here.
Next fight on the card at 160 pounds for no belts, for all the glory, and has currently constituted the main event of the evening. We have Chris Eubank Jr. going one-on-one with Conor Benn in a fight that has been building and has been cooking for years. Their fathers fought. The sons are fighting. I'm a little excited.
The The build-up to this has been tremendous.
Tremendous.
Arguably the biggest fight this weekend. I'll go as far as to say, yeah, it is.
Eubanks, 34-3 overall, fighting out of England, 35 years old. Conor Benn, perfect, 23-0, also fighting out of England, 28 years old.
Yeah, this is a historically significant fight because obviously both of their fathers fought. Conor Benn, I think, is a little more attached to his father, obviously, than Chris Eubanks is. Chris Eubanks and his father are super estranged. For that reason, outside of all the other variables I'm going to give you, on top of why I'm going to lean Chris Eubanks to win this fight, I'm going to lean Chris Eubanks. And I feel like Conor Benn is super attached to this fight emotionally for the reasons I listed, because his father is in his corner. I feel like he wants to represent his father proudly. The problem is Conor Benn is a welterweight moving up 2 weight classes to fight Chris Eubanks. Chris Eubanks is older, but Chris Eubanks is more experienced, has fought the brother brand of competition, has won a legitimate championship before, not like a European Intercontinental Championship, has actually won, I believe, the WBA championship. Eubanks, gonna be much bigger than him in there, knows how to work behind the jab, good combination puncher, sneaky uppercut, gonna be extremely useful against a guy who is much smaller than him, considering Conor has to close the distance. I think Conor's gonna be the faster guy in there, but I just feel like during this buildup, I've seen a lot of emotional drama from him. I feel like he is the guy who got slapped in the face with an egg. I feel like he's the guy who is getting way more invested in the trash talk than Eubanks is. Eubanks is taking this fight because it makes sense digits-wise. I don't think he gives a fuck about his father's legacy, to be frank. That's how estranged they are.
Conor is definitely taking this fight, and it's personal.
Correct.
Yeah.
Eubanks, if you watch the buildup, it's hilarious because me and my brother were watching the buildup to this fight, and he seems so in control of this shit.
Oh, the guy,
he knows how to pull the strings.
Oh, when it comes to the media, oh man, he's
tremendous.
He's that guy's a maestro for sure.
It's unfortunate because his build up to this fight, I feel like he's been super fucking undermarketed. He fought Billam-Smith, got his lick back, and I think it was because he was overlooking Billam-Smith in the first fight, to be frank with you, because Billam-Smith was old. But once again, Billam-Smith, if he's doing that to Chris Eubanks, I feel like he's gonna do dirty things, possibly to this Aaron McKinnon kid in the fight prior. He also fought Billy Joe Saunders when he was 24 years old. He was a baby. If they fought when he was a little more primed, I feel like that fight would have been much more competitive just because he has the power edge and just because I feel like his boxing savvy has increased significantly since then. For me, Conor hasn't really fought anyone. His biggest win is Chris Algieri on his way out. He stopped him to his credit, but Chris was also coming off the Manny Pacquiao loss and everything else that he lost. And he was 36 years old and already looking at retirement. It was actually Chris Algieri's last fight. Gonna have the speed edge, but I have to give it to the guy who's the natural middleweight here. Gonna have the size edge, gonna have the reach edge, and the guy that I think is less emotionally attached in this fight. How it gets done, I don't know. We'll let you know close to the fight time because Conor Benn is an undefeated fighter. Have to put some respect on that. But it wouldn't surprise me if Chris knocked him out. It also wouldn't surprise me if Chris carried him to a decision here.
Yeah, it's insane that even though he's the undefeated fighter, feels like the underdog. And I'm rooting for the guy because, Eubanks, he knows what he's doing. He's an asshole. He makes you want to hate him.
Yeah.
And Conor Benn, the man's fighting for family. He's fighting for pride.
Yeah.
He's fighting for blood. He's fighting for legacy.
And that bag. Because this fight financially makes the most sense.
This just got big WWE promotion,
it's tremendous.
Like build up behind it. Like it gets me excited. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, and it's hilarious because his dad came out and said, well, he's a disgrace, my son, because he slapped him with an egg. I can't defend that. I'm like, dude, you are, I don't know how many years old. That shit is tremendous. And it's only because, if I'm correct, I think Conor Benn was the one who started throwing the egg comments. Then Eubanks countered in the press conference with the egg comments and then slapped him with an actual egg.
Hey, listen, base. That's all I'm going to say.
He's so relaxed in this buildup. And he clearly looks like the more experienced fighter. And he is. Even though he's 35, I got to lean him here. And I don't think the money line is a bad play at -150. I don't usually go there. But I feel like this can look like a very bad ass whooping from Eubanks to him unless Conor's able to catch him with a good shot because he's so much faster than him. Don't be surprised if I play knockdowns in this fight depending on how it's lined. But give me Eubanks Jr. for the win here.
And that does it for today's combat coverage. This was episode 97, right?
Yes.
That was episode 97. Mm-hmm. We're done. My brother, take us home.
Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody enjoying the visual portion of this podcast. Again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know. Love you guys. See you guys next week for episode 98. Enjoy the fights this weekend. Big headlining fights this weekend from UFC and boxing. It was a joy to watch the build, especially to the Eubanks fight. For the MMA fans that don't watch boxing, I highly suggest you watch the build-up because
100%.
it will get you so invested in the fight. Chris Eubank Jr. is a fucking genius, to be frank with you.
God, that guy's so good on the mic.
I love everything about this weekend. Enjoy the fights, guys. See you guys next week. Holla later. Peace.